Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Well, there it is. I knew I had it. That's current blood sugar is 8.3, which is pretty good. Last night was really active. You can see all those blue lines. My pump was working overtime. But while we're up here, fully calibrated, 0.67 units of insulin left in my body. I had to supplement my pump last night. I had to give a correction. I went all the way up to 16.1. And I was starting to show ketones. I'm not playing that game. I took extra insulin. My pump kind of said thank you. And I started to come down. And now I'm sitting at 8.3. Pretty good now. I'm feeling okay. Last night I really wasn't feeling that great. Now, if we take a look, it's better than yesterday, but we still have some work to go. In the last 24 hours, I was 82% time in range, 18 above 82, 0 below 3.9, which is a number my doctor really wants to see. Down here, the average sugar is 8.1. So right now, 8.1 and 8.3, we're pretty close. And that number does change throughout the day. Today, I want to discuss my appointment with my diabetic nurse. And why do I have a diabetic nurse if I have an endocrinologist? Shouldn't it be nice and easy and just go to one and don't have to worry about things? Stay tuned, we'll discuss that. Have a great day and let's get going. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Hey, good morning. Now, I know I said good morning earlier, but hey, I'm just waking up, okay? Stop harassing me. Yesterday, I had a telephone appointment with my diabetic nurse. Now, we speak pretty regularly when things aren't going so great, and I know I can call her anytime. Now, this is someone who's the same as your clinic. And technically, she's my clinic. I physically don't go and see her in her clinic. We do it through telephone interviews. We discuss things like this. She noticed in the last 3 days, I've been doing this. I've been going crazy. We're hoping that it was just a site issue. I removed a site that I had on my arm back to my stomach, but last night we still had the same effect. So I don't know what's going on, whether it's my body saying, hey, this is a new regime. At night, I would just go nice and peaceful. I would settle down to a nice, even stroke. Not doing this thing, not going sky high. Now, it could be site delivery. I had to take a shot. I started to show some ketones, so I wasn't going to play that game. And right now we've left things exactly as they were. We are hoping that this is something that will pass. But after last night and having the new site on, it isn't. Things keep heading up, and I just had to give, I think it was 10 units extra, buy a syringe to bring things down. If I left it, I don't know where I'd wake up. I woke up last night and the nights before feeling not the greatest. So, it wasn't a good night. Nights like this, I feel tired. I'm still tired. I slept till 6:30, which is very rare for me. But I'm going to text her as soon as office hours open and say, hey, we're doing the exact same thing. And you can see how the pump really tried to work. As I pointed out earlier, all the blue lines is saying, hey, you need more insulin. And it really wasn't doing anything. I don't want to sit there and have to change sites every night. So, what can you do? So, we'll see what comes out. I'll keep you informed. Now, yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I did a chat with you about my endocrinologist. My diabetic nurse is someone who is followed by the plan that the doctor and I set forth. She doesn't sort of practice on her own accord. She isn't a, what do they call it? Certified assistant, or I don't know what they call them, physician assistants down in the States. She follows the plan made by the doctors. She could very well be a physician's assistant for diabetes. She's that good. She's gone through an awful lot with me. We kid her in saying she's the one that sent me to the hospital for 9 months. It was a summer I'd never forget. But that's not her purpose. Her purpose is to fine-tune the plan that the doctor and I have made. If I need to take more insulin, less insulin, it's kind of like a guide. Now, she does a super job with all the wacky blood sugars. She knows and has been through an awful lot with me. A very rare occurrence is she doesn't come and visit me when I'm in the hospital. When I'm in the hospitals, it's kind of like hands off. Except for one time during the pandemic, she came, she got all dressed up, and I think it was setting back my pump up and making sure that was working, because I went in there with DK, they stripped me of my pump, and I think that could have been part of the reason. I also was sort of, how do I say it, delusional. I didn't know what was going on. But things just kept working away. So it's important to have her part of your or have her or have him, whoever your diabetic nurse is, be part of your team. Most of the time, you fall into these people. I could have said, oh, well, I want someone closer when she moved away. But nowadays, with the telephone and she can see what my blood sugars were, we can talk. I haven't yet to see her in her new clinic, but for years, I went down and saw her in the clinic. It wasn't always a telephone. This kind of came out of she moved sites, and therefore I kept. So people get used to it, and the one thing I really hate about if I have to change is going through the same things again with my diabetic nurse. Oh, having to stop and say, no, we've tried that. No, we've tried that. No, we've tried that. Things didn't necessarily work well. I've done that with other diabetic nurses, and every time I went and saw them, it was someone else. They kept good records, and their hearts were in the right place. But I started, for some reason, was starting to see the same diabetic nurse every time. And it's worked. If I have any issue out of the ordinary, I can text her and say, hey, I'm having an issue. Now, today, when I'm taping this, is a Friday. So I'll make sure I'll text her before we continue on. Just hearing noises I don't necessarily like to hear in here. So, keeping your body in tune does need some help, and a diabetic nurse can be there to guide you. For me, it's kind of like I have medical around me all the time, but for my diabetes, 3 people run the show. It's myself, my endocrinologist, and my diabetic nurse. In whole, I do a pretty fair job. And if I had just diabetes, that would be great. But now, because my diabetes is so labile in a couple of days, we'll discuss that, I have to be careful. Because controlling one thing and going off and controlling that, it could start a cavalcade of what the rest of your day looks like. Because before, I would be active like this during the day, and my nights would be perfect. You saw that I used to do, okay, now the night is just perfect. I think somehow I'm obviously not getting enough insulin at night. But why? So the diabetic nurse is going to take a look, make suggestions, and I go with it. She has the full support of my diabetic endocrinologist, so I'm not to worry. She doesn't go rogue and come up with these plans all on her own. That's more my job. Just kidding. Diabetic nurse reports the facts, can make suggestions on insulin doses. She has guidelines to follow. She is what they call a CDA, Certified Diabetic Educator. So she has training in diabetes. It's not some nurse who just said, "Oh, I think I'll do diabetes today." No. But where do you find one? First step is go to your GP. Ask to see an endocrinologist. Most times your GP will say, "Hey, you need to go see an endocrinologist." And then your endocrinologist could say that you need to be seen, or he would like you, or she would like you to see an endocrinologist. Now, just one thing I want to clarify here. When I say she or him, I usually take a look at who I have right now. I have a diabetic nurse who is a female. That's why a lot of times I say she. Sometimes for doctors, I'll say he. That's just represent of what I personally have right now. If he was a male, I would say he. Okay? I just thought, let's be right up and straightforward about that. Taking care of your diabetes is multifaceted. Has many different areas has many different areas to watch. Your diabetic nurse can help. See your GP, get an endo, and he or she can come up with an education center. You may just go through seeing whichever nurse is on. A lot of times they'll get into routine, and your first line of defense will be your diabetic nurse. And with that, have a great day, and we'll talk later. Bye now. My next vlog topic will be Our next topic tomorrow will be listen before it's too late. Trust me, I wish I had done that, but I was a stubborn little juvenile delinquent until I was about 23, 24. So stay tuned tomorrow. It should be an interesting topic. Have a great day, and we'll talk later. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.